In the late 17th century, fleeing persecution in the Scottish Highlands, a small, devout sect led by a prophetess named Isabel arrives on a remote, uninhabited island in the North Atlantic. They call it Enscale, the shade. The island is harsh, a landscape of black volcanic rock, hardy grasses, and a single, twisted species of salt-resistant thorn tree. Isabel declares their exodus a success. They have found a sanctuary where their bloodline and beliefs can remain untainted by the corrupting influence of the outside world. The founding families, the MacLeods, the Beattys, and the Frasers, make a solemn vow to never seek passage back to the mainland. Their survival depends entirely on their unity and their isolation. They build their first settlement in a deep sheltered cove, their stone crofts huddled together against the relentless wind. They are not prisoners but willing exiles, believing their purity is their salvation. The women are tasked with being the keepers of the lore and, more importantly, the keepers of the lineage, ensuring the vow of separation is absolute. The first generation is strong, hardened by their journey and fervent in their faith, seeing every storm and hardship as a test from God. 5 generations have passed. The community on Enscale has survived, but it has not grown. The vow of isolation remains unbroken. A unique tradition has evolved, managed entirely by the matriarchs. In the central longhouse sits the loom of kin, a massive wooden loom where a single, continuous tapestry is woven. It is not a record of history, but of genealogy. Every birth is a new thread, spun from the wool of their specific island-bred sheep, and woven into the pattern by the mother. Marriages are represented by twisting 2 threads together before they continue into the next generation. The tapestry is a dense, complex web of interconnected lines, a visual representation of their closed system. The women who tend the loom are the most powerful figures in the community. They approve matches, ensuring the lines remain strong. However, the tapestry's pattern has become alarmingly tight, the same colors weaving back into themselves with increasing frequency. The women speak of this as braiding the blood, a sign of their enduring purity. But in private, they see the threads thinning, the pattern repeating to the point of near identicality. It is a beautiful, sacred object that also serves as a chilling mathematical chart of their genetic decline. By the 8th generation, a distinct physical trait has become ubiquitous among the islanders. It's known as the thorn mark, a startlingly pale, silvery gray iris in one or both eyes, often accompanied by a lock of prematurely white hair at the temple, even in children. The community's lore, shaped by the matriarchs, has sanctified this trait. It is taught that the island itself has blessed them, marking them as its own. To have the thorn mark is to be a true child of Enscale, a sign of ultimate purity. Poets and singers compose odes to eyes of winter sea fog and hair touched by the moon. However, the island's healer, a wise woman named Elspeth, knows the lore is a beautiful lie. The mark is often accompanied by other, less poetic traits. A fragility of the bones, a recurring lung ailment they call the sea rattle, and a quiet, sorrowful disposition. Elspeth, who pores over the tattered medical texts brought by the founders, understands the truth. The mark is not a blessing, but a symptom. It is the visible manifestation of their shrinking heritage, a beautiful, haunting flaw that signals a deeper vulnerability. She holds this knowledge like a lead weight in her heart, complicit in the myth while battling its consequences. The predictable rhythms of island life are shattered by an unprecedented winter storm. For 3 days, the sky and sea merge into a single entity of roaring gray violence. When the storm breaks, the men who venture out to check their lobster pots find a wreckage splintered against the black rocks of the western shore, the remains of a ship not of their own making. Lashed to a broken mast is a man, unconscious and near death. He is an outsider, the first the islanders have seen in nearly 200 years. His presence is a cataclysmic event, a breach of the highest order. He is brought to the longhouse and laid before the council of matriarchs. His clothes are strange, his hair is a color they have not seen in generations, and his very existence is a challenge to their entire belief system. Some argue he must be cast back into the sea to preserve their purity and fulfill the vow. But Elspeth, the healer, argues that their humanity must outweigh their dogma. To kill him would be a greater corruption than to save him. The debate rages, a conflict between fear and compassion, tradition and necessity. The council, swayed by Elspeth's pleas, allows the stranger to live, but he is to be kept isolated in her care. His name is Finn, a cartographer from the mainland whose vessel was blown hopelessly off course. As Elspeth and her young apprentice, Moira, nurse him back to health, a silent, forbidden exchange begins. Finn, delirious at first, speaks of a world of bustling cities, of scientific advancements, of a population so vast that one's lineage is a matter of trivia, not destiny. Moira, who has known only the 200 souls on an scale, listens with a mixture of terror and consuming curiosity. In return, she shares the island's secrets. She teaches him the names of the sea herbs and the subtle signs of a coming storm. She shows him the loom of kin, explaining the meaning of the twisting threads. Finn, with his outsider's perspective, sees it not as a sacred relic, but as a pedigree chart for an endangered species. He gently explains the concepts of genetics, of the inevitable consequences of such a closed system. For Moira, his words are blasphemy, yet they resonate with the unspoken fears she has harbored her entire life, watching the increasing fragility of the newborns she helps deliver. Finn recovers his strength over the long winter. He is a man of practical skills and gentle demeanor, and slowly, he earns a measure of trust. He helps repair the storm-damaged crofts with techniques unknown to the islanders, and shows them how to build a better kiln for their pottery. His greatest gift, however, comes from a small oilskin pouch he managed to save. It contains seeds, mainland varieties of oats, hardy beans, and kale. He explains that cross-pollinating their dwindling stock of island crops could save them from the blight that has begun to plague their harvests. This presents a powerful, tangible metaphor for their own situation. The matriarchs, led by an aging Elspeth, see the undeniable parallel. To accept these seeds is to admit that the purity they have championed for centuries is, in fact, a path to starvation. The decision to plant the seeds becomes a proxy war for the future of their people. In a landmark council meeting, they vote to till a new field. It is a monumental concession, an admission that the outside world holds not just corruption, but also salvation. Moira is chosen to oversee the new garden, a symbol of a new generation willing to embrace change. With the arrival of spring, a new project consumes the island, building a boat for Finn. It is a vessel of compromise. The islanders will give him the means to leave, and he will renew his vow to never reveal their location. The project forces a collaboration that would have been unthinkable a year prior. The men, who have only ever built heavy, stable currachs for coastal fishing, learn new principles of keels and sails from Finn's diagrams, which he sketches in charcoal on smoothed planks of driftwood. The women, led by Moira, weave a sail from their toughest wool and flax, its color a neutral gray, a stark contrast to the vibrant, storytelling dyes of their ceremonial weavings. The construction site becomes the new center of the community, a place of shared purpose that transcends the old tensions. For Moira and Finn, it is a bittersweet time. Their shared work deepens their bond, but every plank nailed in place is a step closer to their inevitable separation. The boat is more than wood and wool. It is a vessel of departure, a promise of silence, and a monument to the moment their world changed forever. The day of Finn's departure is solemn and clear. The entire community gathers on the beach. He is given provisions, dried fish, hardtack, and casks of fresh water. Elspeth, now frail, approaches him. She does not offer a blessing but gives a simple, profound nod of acknowledgement. The final farewell is between Finn and Moira. There are no grand declarations, only a quiet exchange freighted with unspoken emotion. He hands her a small, heavy object wrapped in oilskin, his compass. "So you always know the way," he says, "even if you choose to stay." In return, Moira gives him a small, tightly woven braid made from 3 threads. One from her own dark hair, one from the gray wool of the island sheep, and one from the white lock of her thornmark. It is a token of her identity, of the island's past and its fragile present. As his small boat catches the wind and shrinks towards the horizon, Moira stands on the shore, the cold metal of the compass in her hand. It is an instrument that points to a world she will never see, but it is also a symbol of a new direction, a choice her people now have. 20 years pass. Elspeth is gone, and Moira is now the lead matriarch, her wisdom respected, her thorn mark a sign of her deep connection to their history. The island has changed. The new crops have flourished, bringing better health and nutrition. But the core problem, the one Finn's arrival illuminated, remains. The loom of kin has run out of new patterns. The threads of the three founding families are now so tightly braided they are almost one. Moira, holding Finn's compass and his memory, makes a radical proposal to the council. They must intentionally break the vow, not by abandoning the island, but by sending a chosen few away to bring back new thread for the loom. It is a plan born of desperation and hope. After a year of debate, a small boat, a copy of the one built for Finn, is launched. On board are 2 young men and 2 young women, chosen for their health and resilience. Their mission is not to conquer or colonize, but to travel to the distant mainland, find partners, and return with their new families. It is a terrifying, heartbreaking mission, a sacrifice for the survival of their people. It is the ultimate rejection of the founders' fear-based purity. An elderly Moira sits by the shore, her silver eyes gazing at the horizon. It has been 50 years since Finn's arrival. The seed seekers were successful. Their first return, a decade after they left, was a moment of joyous, tearful celebration. They brought back partners from the mainland, a fisherman from County Clare, a farmer's daughter from Cornwall. Others followed, and scale is no longer a monoculture. The children playing on the beach are a vibrant mix. Some still bear the thorn mark, a reminder of their unique past, while others have brown, green, and blue eyes. Their laughter is stronger, their bodies more robust. The loom of kin has been respectfully retired to the longhouse, a monument to a bygone era. In its place, the women now weave blankets and sails, their patterns telling new stories, of storms survived, of distant lands, of new love. The vow of purity has been replaced by a new creed of resilience through connection. Moira holds the old, cold compass. She never learned how to use it for navigation, but she understood its true lesson. It taught her that a single, fixed point is not a strength but a limitation. The future was not in staying put, but in having the courage to find a new way.